And I can start whenever.
Okay, we're already in the podcast, so we're already in the app.
We're rolling.
We're rolling. We're live.
We're rolling. I'll just start.
Yeah, let me turn this just a shade more. Should be good. I like to be like right in front of it, but try to, as much as you can, try to stay somewhat in the realm.
I got to be here.
It's hard. It's fine.
But then I'm off. I actually have to be here.
Yeah.
It's tough.
You can also make it more point towards you. It's pointing upward. So if you could point it, like this, and make it kind of more point towards your mouth, I think you'll do a bit better like that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a directional mic, so
I agree.
Yeah. So all right. So
here
42.
We go.
I think kick it off whenever you want.
All right, guys, we're back. Welcome to Beckman Unleashed podcast number 7. My name is Joel Beckman. This is my co-host Eric.
How you doing?
We're going to jump right into it. Here's what we have planned for you guys today. We are going to talk about my last video, which I have a lot of thoughts about. We're going to talk about ear cropping and tail docking, which is a controversial subject. And based on my last video with a Malinois, we're going to talk about, does your dog need a job, and the pros and cons of your dog having a job. And there are cons to it. And I'm going to actually ask some experts out there to chime in the comments, because I have some questions about some things about your dog having a job that I have for people. So,
sounds good.
What's going on with you?
Not much. So the Malinois Mayhem video, that one came out, I think, on Sunday at like 11.
Yep.
And just rocking and rolling, has probably over 60,000 people already looking at it. A ton of comments, a lot of opinions I've noticed on that comment.
Yeah, everyone's got opinions.
Yeah, they do. So what are your thoughts on that session? And then also some of the, I don't want to say hate, but a little bit of stuff getting tossed around on
hate.
There. Yeah.
It was you should watch the video. It's my last one. It was done 2 days ago. Malinois Mayhem. It was interesting. The session was good. And I posted the video. I was like, that's a good video. People think it's a freaking great video, though.
Yeah.
But bro, I do not understand the negative comments towards the people in the video. And here's what I'm going to say. One, there's no reason for it, mainly just because these people, all these clients, are bringing their dog to me. Many of them are driving hours and hours and hours to bring their dog to somebody that they trust. Okay, I'm not saying I'm the best. There are people, subscribers and clients, that think I'm the best. So they think that they're bringing their dog to the best place to help their dog. We're doing the session.
Mm-hmm.
Then viewers are commenting in unhelpful ways about the people like they're experts. They have all the answers. Glass houses, we talked about it last week. I don't understand it. And I've tried to get my head around it a little bit. And I've gone, okay, this is just human nature to see something and then to call someone out. Is it all Malinois people? And I'm going to get into you Malinois people who are on your high horses because you own a Malinois and you think you're the only people on the face of the earth that can handle such a cool dog. And so it's all Malinois people in there. And I think there's a lot of them. And we're going to get to you Malinois people in a minute. And it's become a personality for you as opposed to a dog breed.
It's an identity.
Your dog breed is your identity, which is weird. You're becoming, you Malinois people are becoming worse than pit bull people. Now you got bumper stickers already? You Malinois? Probably. You guys need your bumper stickers. You need to bring it up in every conversation. You own a Malinois.
It's like CrossFit, right?
Bro, you don't own a Jaguar. Like, you own a dog breed. It's a dog breed. It's a cool breed. It's a lot of pub right now. It jumps over walls. Cool. They're cool. They're great. But how about your identity is you're a great father?
That's good too.
How about that be your identity? How you're going to be like marathon runners soon and CrossFit people. Don't do that. Don't be that.
Should we have a counter for how many subs we lose on these? This would be great.
Yeah.
That's fine. So I think what you're saying is that as far as the Malinois video goes, is if somebody takes 3 hours to drive their dog that needs help to you, spends a pretty decent amount of money to get help, and then for that, right? And really wants to fix the dog and cares about that, and they invest their time and energy to get help, you're thinking we shouldn't just totally trash them on the internet when they do that.
Yeah, that's my crazy thinking.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I told him what needed to happen. I said it in a way that they can understand it, hopefully, and it wasn't in a mean way.
Mhm.
So some people want to like fill in the blanks and like, oh, they didn't get the point. They shouldn't have ever got. They rescued the dog.
Yeah, they saved it from euthanasia, right?
Yeah, I don't know what do you let the dog die? I think that's the thinking.
Maybe the people in the comments could adopt the dog.
Yeah,
They should have
I don't
adopted it.
I don't totally understand it, to be honest with you. It's not my way of being on the internet. I don't understand it unless there's some Malinois aspect to it, more than
Yeah.
just these guys can't handle a dog. They rescued the dog. They have no kids in the house. They're a couple that can both walk the dog and put their brains together and figure out the problems.
Mhm.
And then they say, we're gonna bring this dog to Joel at a year old, not 5 years old when the problems get too bad. The dog was 1 year old. And then they have to read the comments and read how they shouldn't have gotten the dog. They have the dog. They own the dog. They
Yeah.
rescued the dog. And they brought the dog to me from death, potentially.
Yeah.
And then they got to read people.
They seem like they're in good shape.
They're in good shape. They can walk the dog.
They can walk the dog. They can exercise it. It might be a challenge. They could end up saving that dog's life, which I think happened. And it could have an amazing life. And they go, who do we think is the best dog trainer on YouTube?
Yeah, we're going to take them to Joel.
Yeah. And we're going to spend the money to do it. And so, but there's a lot of keyboard warriors out there, my friend.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. But I do think there was a Malinois aspect to it. Half the comments that were disparaging these people were people who own Malinois or have owned Malinois and think that they're the only human beings on the face of the earth that are capable of handling such a crazy breed. And so we're going to comment because we think that we're the best and we're the only ones capable of it, when you're not. It's a breed of dog. It is a dog.
Mm-hmm. And do you mind going into...
It isn't a wild animal.
Do you mind getting into the like rescue side of it versus... Because of course, any breeds all have their challenges, but when you bring a rescue into it...
It makes everything different.
And it could make it way harder too.
Oh, it can make it way harder, but they didn't buy the dog from a breeder and go, we want a Malinois.
Yeah.
They rescued the dog and it was a Malinois. There's difference. So yeah, getting a dog that we don't know about its history is going to make things more difficult for these folks. And it did, because they didn't raise the dog.
It sounds like you can't win, because when you get a dog from a breeder, right? Then people in the comments say, why are you getting it from a breeder? You should go to a rescue.
They can't win.
And then you go to a rescue and they say, you can't handle that breed. What's wrong with you?
That's exactly right.
Maybe we should stop paying attention to some of these.
Yeah, maybe we should stop spending 10 minutes at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah, maybe I should just delete all these comments.
Yeah,
I deleted some.
Yeah,
I think it's not fair.
That's your stance, or recent stance, right? It's like, if you're getting...
That's my recent
If you
stance.
have a problem with Joel, fire away. But if you have a problem with the clients that are, there is no video if those people don't bring the dog to you.
That's a great point. These people are putting themselves out there and bringing these dogs and and I'm trying to edit the videos as true as I can while keeping people's attention. But there's no video without these people.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. It's funny too, because, I'm not sure if you know this, even though you were at the session, but apparently you pinned the dog.
Oh yeah. Multiple people, they don't go, did you pin the dog? They go, why did you cut out the pinning? I didn't.
Can I ask you? Yeah. Did you cut it out?
No, you saw the original video.
Yeah, there was no pinning.
There was no pinning. I can post that.
You could pin it though if you wanted to.
I don't care. Oh yeah, I could have pinned it, but I didn't pin it. That's the point.
It's fun.
I would have if the dog didn't just lie down.
Yeah.
Which you saw. So there was no pinning of the dog. And they're like, why'd you cut out the pinning? And I wanted to write back, how sure are you that I pinned the dog? Because here's the link to the actual.
And if you probably, not to get too boring into this, but
yeah.
if you get really into it, if you listen to that part of the video, you can hear where the sound is pulled down from all the popping and cracking that happened at that exact
Oh
same
yeah.
time,
There
which
was
they don't know about
mic. Yeah, there's mic stuff.
Yeah.
So the camera person hits this thing and the mic goes pop, pop.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And you literally cannot leave it in.
Yeah,
it'll blow your eardrums away.
Yeah,
it's a problem. It's my problem.
Yeah, it's a huge issue. And yeah. So it's an interesting.
All right. Have we got through the sort of reaction from the last video, the Malinois folks?
I loved it. I loved the video, just so you know. I thought it was a great video. And
Prince was a champ.
Yeah, that dog was going at Prince, and it went at that poor golden retriever was just sitting there like, hi, buddy. And it just smashed him for no reason. And so, but it seemed like it did better. And I think that's a dog that probably needs several sessions to
let know he can't do that to other dogs. He's a dominant dog that needs a lot. And that's why they brought him to me. And I'll see him again.
Mm-hmm. And I think, though, if they watch that video and they see what you did and they just like, we're going to follow this program of correcting that unwanted behavior right away, I think they would be blown away at what progress they could probably make.
I agree. And you got to be careful. This dog isn't going to be, he's still young, so they're still learning to happen, but he's not going to be a roll up to a dog park and let this guy fly in there. Most of you don't have that kind of dog, actually.
Yeah. No, that's actually really funny. I mean, you can go a little harder on the Malinois if you want before we switch off. I guess you don't have a Malinois bumper sticker.
No, but I'm sure they are. There's many of them. And I fed into it. I posted on Instagram like a year ago, Beckman's dog training on Instagram. I posted a thing and it was like, from A Few Good Men, you can't handle.
Oh,
and
I saw that.
It was like, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, you can't handle a Malinois, or I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I fed into it. I totally fed into it.
Yeah.
It's like, cool. But like, listen, they're a cool dog. They're a tough dog. The breeding right now is a weird thing that's happening it happens with breeding of dogs when they get popular. It's a weird thing. But Malinois people, you guys aren't the only chosen ones who can handle anything. I hate to say it.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Make your identity something else.
I think that's a good point. One request, if you could throw your headphones on, it would just
I just forgot them. It's not
good
really
for popping.
Different.
I can hear the popping. That's all.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah.
I just forgot the headphones.
When you start talking about Malinois, you're just like, you get really.
I go crazy.
Yeah, but I get your point. Your point is obviously, even not to totally get canceled here, but the pit bull of the past, what was this, last 10 years, is the pit bull. Any type of commentary around pit bull could elicit quite a response from the pit bull community.
Yeah, pit bull community, you guys need to chill too.
Yeah,
chill. It's not your identity. Make something else your identity.
Yeah,
your dog breed is not it's your dog's breed.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and they're fun. It's fun, different style dogs and the challenges and different personalities, right, that can come from that. But
yeah, they're dogs.
They're just dogs.
They're dogs with traits. You need to think about those traits.
Yeah.
But if you rescue one, you're doing a good thing. You're net positive rescuing. So let's not make it a net negative.
But are you a bad person if you don't?
Of course not.
Okay. So we're good.
But you get a pass on not being perfect.
Yeah.
With your dog if you rescue them, I think. No? Am I crazy? You didn't go out choose the breed.
Yeah, there's a dog.
You got the breed that you sat there and it looked at you and you said, let's give this guy a life and let's try to train this guy or girl.
You go to the pound, or do they call it the pound anymore?
I doubt it. No.
The shelter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know this is not the cat podcast, but my poor Lucy
cat. The cat podcast, every podcast is the cat podcast to you.
Is it? Well, I have all these cats. I gotta get into the thing. But so I have the shelter cat, right? So it is this beautiful cat, and it had problems. Like something happened to it up to 6 months. And when we
Yeah.
got it at 6 months, it's not normal. It's super fearful.
Yeah.
And we've done nothing but love it. So we're always like, what happened to you, Lucy?
Yeah. 6 months is like the first 2 years of a person's life. If certain things don't happen in the first 2 years with a little kid, you got problems when that kid's a teenager.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be made. And that I'm going to get into that with ear cropping and tail docking on trauma. And
Yeah.
what trauma does to dogs, cats, and children. But trauma, like the golden retriever, he didn't have trauma, but he had adversity. And adversity is good. Trauma is not good. The golden retriever in the video.
That was just a board and train, a random dog at the place.
And I'm glad it happened to that board and train.
Why?
Because he got a taste of what my dogs. You could argue Prince is the most famous dog in this country right now. You could argue Prince is the most well-trained dog in the country right now. I'm not saying I'm saying that. I'm saying the argument could be made. He was born in that. He is from the fire of that, of handling tough situations. And that golden retriever got that's the point of the board and train, is to give the board and trains a taste of a certain life. Well, that's one of the points. Does that make sense?
It's like the exposure, right? The exposure to a variety of different.
Yeah, training and playing and swimming and walking, and occasionally in a controlled environment, a dog getting mad at you and it not being the first time it ever happens is at a dog park.
Yeah. Yeah.
He learned something from that Malinois getting mad at him.
I think the Prince being arguably the best dog. Let me play Angel's advocate for a second.
Yes.
To agree with this, that there's a huge amount of work that goes into that, right? So every day, or not every day, but almost every day he's working. He's working with other dogs. He's getting the exposure that only the top 2% of dogs are even getting in the first place, right?
Yes. And he has a job. We'll hopefully get into that later. Go ahead.
Yeah. So he's already, got the 10,000 hours that the other dogs don't have. So he has that going for him. He has a decent trainer, I would say, really good trainer in Liz. Yeah. So that's good. Your wife. Yeah. But the proof is in the pudding, as we've said on this podcast, that he does behave amazing with kids, with everything.
Yeah.
He does well. He doesn't attack dogs that probably don't deserve to be attacked, but definitely are barking up the wrong tree, right?
Yeah.
So he's in the GOAT category, right?
Well, who's in the category? Now, are we talking? I mean, can we include Lassie in this? Like as far as famousness, forget training. I mean, how do you? It's an internet world now, right? Daddy, Caesar Milan's dog.
Caesar Milan's
okay.
dog.
Who else? I don't know who's in this category. Daddy and his other dog. I don't know. Caesar Milan's. You've got my two dogs. Who are these other dogs? Senza, Cane Corso. She's got famous dogs.
The funniest part about Prince, why he should be the GOAT, is because he does this funny little run by on people all the time.
Oh yeah,
like the dogs. They'll just go like out of nowhere. He just comes racing by the dog. You've done it. You've called it out a couple times.
He's crazy. He's crazy, and he's pretty sexual.
Huh. Where does he get that from?
I don't know. His dad, not me. His real dad. I don't know.
Do you know his dad?
No, he came to us at 4 months old. Like I don't know his mom or his dad.
And so that we should just get right into the ear questions about, because the people go, Joel, did you ear crop and tail dock Prince?
No, we got him at 4 months old. I've said this every other podcast. I mentioned this in some videos and in comments when people ask. We got him at 4 months old. He breeder returned. The lady who had him from the breeder, too much for her mom, returned him. She said she would only send him to the family if the family was right. We walked in and she knew that we were right, and we got a Prince. We had no say in ear cropping and tail docking.
Would you do it in the future?
I won't. I'm not going to do it in the future because we need to document them as puppies. They got this stupid thing on their head when they get their ears done. that is like
For how
not
long?
great. That thing's on their head for like, I don't know, like a couple weeks. But then they have these posts in their ear. It's a big pain in the behind.
Yeah.
Okay, here's my ear docking and tail cropping, tail docking ear cropping deal. All right. There are people in the comments that are constantly, they hate it. And they don't just hate it.
Before you get into that, can you explain what it is and then why people do it in the first place? Like just a background on it.
Well, the ear stuff is for the dog to look like it's supposed to look. There's a breed standard, right? So Dobermans are the most popular ones to do it with. They just don't look right without it. Doesn't mean you need a dog that looks right.
Mm-hmm.
You still have the same dog. It's just breed standard stuff. Pits get it done. Boxers get it done. Great Danes get it done. The ear stuff. The tail stuff is common. A lot of dogs get their tails docked. And the argument for that would be not a great one, but like,
they don't knock stuff
they
over.
don't knock stuff off your, but so here's the thing. Let me just get into this for a second. If you hate ear cropping and tail docking, and you think anyone who does it is a horrible person, are you also screaming from the rooftops about circumcision? It's the exact same thing, but they're not. And you know why they're not? Because, and I hate to say it, folks, but it's a hard truth for you guys who hate it. You value dogs more than humans.
Wow.
It's the same procedure, except if it's for religious purposes on the circumcision thing.
So, I mean, they look the way the breed says they should look, which is a convention, right? It's made up. Like somebody got together and made up they need to look like this.
Yeah.
So it's like in a way you could argue that
it shouldn't
the
be
way
done.
they look is the way that their ears grow.
Yes. Here's the other thing you could argue. There is no wild dog, canine, that has floppy ears. I'm not saying that's an excuse for it. I'm just saying floppy ears ain't really that normal either.
Dude, my mind just is blown.
Look up New Guinea singing dogs. It's probably the canine you've seen the least ever in your life. See if they have floppy ears.
How about
every
coyotes don't have floppy ears?
No,
right?
no, nothing has floppy ears. Floppy ears aren't great.
So do you think it's like the tail of the killer whale that starts to? Is it something like that or no?
Well, I know what you're talking about. The killer whale dorsal bending over. What do you mean?
I mean, it's a pretty large jump, but I'm just saying, like, is it some type of domestication thing that causes it to no longer be normal ears?
No, it's a good question. I don't know why they created floppy ears. Like bloodhounds, they say that the ears are so floppy because it kicks up scent. But like, why does every dog almost have floppy ears? I don't know.
Is it because they're lazy?
The dog?
Yeah.
No.
Maybe it's the owners.
Oh, I see. That's the killer whale analogy.
No, I'm just joking.
I don't know why many thousands of years ago it could have been a mistake in breeding. They started to breed wolves and then the ears started to flop and they just simply didn't breed selectively to get them back up.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't worried about that.
Yeah, they probably don't care.
I mean, who knows? My point is, so okay, here's another thing. We don't like to cut things that don't need to be cut off of small animals, but it also doesn't do a lot of harm to the small animals. Like think really, like I get it. We don't want to do that to animals or to people. I get it. It also isn't that bad.
Before everyone jumps off the podcast,
it's just not that bad.
Can I ask you, can you tie this back into last week's podcast, which was how invasive is this?
Good question.
Compared to spaying and neutering?
Great point.
That's a question, not a point, but go ahead.
The things you take out when you spay and neuter them have actual hormones that are important for life. The things you take out when you ear crop and tail dock have no hormones in them. Okay, here's the other thing in comments. People go, oh, they need the tail for communication. How good? Both my Dobermans have had cropped dock tails. How good of communicators do you think my two Dobermans are? Arguably the best you've ever seen on the internet.
Pretty damn good.
So there's your argument blown up, blown to pieces. I mean, my dogs seem to get by pretty well with their lack of communicative tail and their lack of communicative ears. The ears actually can still communicate when they're cropped, but
when they're cropped,
the tail doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Shifts,
Proof's
right?
in the pudding. Watch my videos. Is the tail dock send some weird mixed signal where the other dog doesn't understand what's going on? So no, it doesn't matter.
So you're basically saying
I'm going off.
There's basically no doubt. That's why it's called Beckman Unleashed. It's not called Beckman
Unleashed, bro.
Beckman in the library, right? It's called Beckman Unleashed.
It's not Beckman sleeping.
Yeah. So you're basically saying it would be hard to argue that ear cropping is more invasive than spaying a dog.
It's less invasive, obviously. I think it's got no hormones in it that you're removing that are good for life.
It's not really a surgery, right?
It is.
I mean, they cut, but it's not the same type of surgery as a spaying.
No, it's less invasive. The problem is they're young when it happens. So you got to be careful of trauma to young organisms. Okay. You could argue it's an okay time to do it as well when they're young. I mean, I have 3 children. There are things that should happen with babies of feeling close to you, of being safe. I know people who have had water, like bathtub births. And they say because the baby comes out in this natural way and it's not this certain lighting of the hospital. I've never understood the argument for it, but when it's explained to me, I kind of get it a little bit. Because they want this sort of now, when you're docking a tail or cropping an ear on a young thing, there's like this crazy thing that's happening to them at a young age. But look at my 2 dogs. I don't know. Did I somehow overcome their horrible tail docking and ear cropping experience? Or did they just not have a horrible ear cropping and tail docking experience and become 2 of the best dogs on the internet? What's it called?
They've transcended the ear cropping to be the goats.
Or it just wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
That's my point.
There is we'll never know the pain tolerance.
We'll don't know.
Because we're not the dogs. And even humans have a pretty wide variety of pain tolerance.
Yes, there's things in life where you go, well, that sounds like that's a bad idea, but actually it's not a bad idea. Well, that sounds like that's a good idea. Let's politically, let's do this. That sounds like a good idea. Actually, it's a horrible idea, and there's no evidence to suggest it. But it sounds like a good point. Okay, it sounds like a good point you shouldn't crop their ears. Actually, it sounds good to me that you shouldn't do that. I'm just not sure you shouldn't do it. Because I've seen nothing that says you shouldn't do it except for the fact that if it seems kind of mean. And it does seem kind of mean. And I will give you that.
But isn't it okay to be mean?
It's not the worst thing in the world.
As a father,
that's
right?
True.
I look back and I think of some of the men in my life that I would say were mean. And I would be like, that guy's mean. My uncle's mean. My dad's mean.
Yeah, they're trying to make you a man.
Yeah, and then I had a biology teacher, and he was like headbutting people. He was crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was insane.
But he is mean.
But he was mean.
He headbutted people.
But you know what he did though? Is he said, I'll be there at 7 a.m. every morning. If anyone needs help, then I will help you with your stuff.
And he was.
And he was. And then I went in there and he called me out and was like, you're not paying attention. You're not doing your notes. He scared me because he was that intense, right? He's like a wrestling and football coach or something like that. And but I could tell he cared.
Yeah.
He wanted me to be a better person.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how mean is that?
Yeah. No, that's exactly right.
And people would say you're mean. Look at he just grabs the dog and he's just like, no, that's not nice.
It's not nice.
Your mom wouldn't do that.
No, my mom's very nice.
Your mom would be like, Joel, you're the most wonderful boy ever.
Yeah. they're mean and no nonsense are not the worst things in the world.
Yeah, but maybe I went too far with the mean, like cropping. We don't.
Cropping's different.
Cropping is a little bit different, but the point I think remains the
Similar.
Same.
Yeah.
So, but you don't have judgments on people that have decided to get into ear cropping, tail docking.
Part of my deal is I don't have a lot of judgments. I guess I have judgments on people, but I don't have a lot of judgments in dog training.
So beyond Malinois owners, you pretty much are judgment free.
Yeah. Yeah. I have judgments. I guess I do. I don't put it on the internet.
Yeah.
I don't comment on things that I don't know a lot about.
Yeah. It sounds like it's more reactionary, right? Like you think you're like force free, go ahead, do whatever you want, enjoy your life, live your best life. But then when the force free people start invading the comments and attacking you personally, you're like, okay, now I have to get a little bit judgmental.
Yeah. I like when people say stuff, and then we get to talk about it later on. Like they started the fight.
Do you like
I didn't
confrontation?
start the fight. Do you think I like confrontation?
Yes.
I don't think anyone likes confrontation.
So
honestly,
there's
people that are not afraid of it. There's people that will do it even though they don't like doing it. And there's people that will never do it and have never rehearsed doing it and have never practiced doing it. So therefore they're not good at it. So therefore they don't do it. I've had enough in my life to not be scared of it.
So do you mind if I give them some really inside baseball on Beckman?
Sure. On me?
No, not on you, on the company.
Yeah.
So as I think you know, I was talking to somebody who works at a company that would like you to endorse their products.
Yeah.
And they were saying,
should we talk about this? You just don't say the company.
We just won't say who it is.
Okay.
And we'll say, so, if it was something that he believed in, would he be willing to bring it up, or would he be willing to debate somebody like at a conference?
Is that what they said?
It was it's hard to say. Like it was just a lot of talking going on, and so it was kind of. It wasn't like they were saying like,
them, not me.
Was he afraid? They were just saying like, at a conference, like communication and like the ability. And with some of the panels, it reminds me of that one video with the Karen video that is, where you were like, I will debate you anytime you want. And so I just basically told the person, if Joel believes in something, he will debate you in the middle of the street about it, like to some degree, right?
Yeah.
It's so, and it's like, I think it's because of the background with the exotic animals and then all the dog training that you're pretty confident about what you believe in, that if somebody tries to challenge you, you're like, well, yeah, let's debate. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We'll cross out sponsor.
I think that the person, generally speaking, if we're in a debate, if I'm in a debate with somebody, it's because they have a different opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people's opinion is going to be based on more of a, how do I say this? More of a belief that doesn't come from their own belief. So they're saying, I'm going to debate you on force-free methods. Well, their whole argument isn't going to be a real argument. It's going to be a philosophical argument. It's going to be an argument about niceness versus meanness, not about.
It's not experiential because they don't know what they're talking about. Pretty much. Like if Dog Daddy was like, I think you should not use it this way, you should use it this way, you'd go, well, he's probably trained a couple dogs. We have a different opinion. You might debate it, but you would go, I would listen. Yeah, you would listen because he actually has experience in the arena.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Yeah. I would love to debate somebody that makes YouTube videos and talks all the time. It would be the greatest thing in the world.
That's why you like confrontation, because you're like licking your chops, like, let's go.
Well, can you imagine you're debating on dog training? One person has worked with thousands of dogs, the other has worked with 200. Yeah. It's not even close.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It's not even they would get so smoked. Not because I'm a genius. I'm definitely not. I have just worked with so many dogs.
Yeah.
The number of dogs that I've worked with is out of control.
I know.
And it's not because I started this thing and then all of a sudden my phone started blowing up. It's because this weird thing that I have the killer whale and the exotic mountain lions and monkeys. So that adds this weird kind of thing in my brain that helps with aggression and other things. But basically, I just randomly got these two partners that became I was teaching group classes to 10 dogs like 5 days a week.
Yeah.
While running a board and train, while going to people's homes. The dog numbers just stacked up very quickly.
Yeah.
Then it built on itself and it just went exponential. So it's just the number of leashes I've had in my hands does something to your brain that it doesn't do to somebody else's dog trainer's brain.
Yeah. It's
I'm not a genius.
Yeah, it's a repetition thing, right? And it is. I mean, I was thinking about that with like the gentle leaders. It's like, can you think of someone who's used a gentle leader more than you have? Nobody.
Not on YouTube.
Not on YouTube. I mean, unless you worked at like a factory,
a gentle leader factory.
Well, I mean, like I mean, who's actually put them on a dog more than you?
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think anyone.
I don't even know any train. Are there any trainers that use them? I literally think like
not the big ones that I've seen.
I started using a gentle leader and I was like, this is the head halter. And I basically said, this is the greatest dog training product ever made. I've said that hundreds of times to people. And I really didn't notice that very few other trainers used it until the comment section where people are like, what is that thing? And they're like from Kentucky or they're from somewhere. Like, it's not even that known.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's just the greatest dog training product ever invented.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, I think part of the wolf pack, the Beckman wolf pack too, is kind of like, I don't like when people say, oh, I get shamed for using the gentle leader by my neighbor. I feel like we've got to empower the Beckman wolf pack to be like, what? You don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here. We won't tell them what,
You think they should say get out of here banned on the street?
We don't want to get banned, but you get where I'm going with that. Yeah. One. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to apologize for using a head harness unless you want every horse trainer to apologize from the beginning of time for using a head harness, right?
That's right.
So I just think, but I do think that makes you unique, that because I think the top 10-ish dog trainers, at least on YouTube that I've seen, I don't see them using one. I don't ever remember it. Maybe they have.
I don't know.
But it's not like a go-to.
It's not a go-to. It's my go-to.
Yeah, like a lot will not use with every dog, collar, right?
I don't want to use head harnesses if I don't have to.
Yeah, you don't just take like a 3-week-old puppy and just like toss a head harness on it for no reason,
they're
right?
Just they're great.
Yeah, but if you need one, it's a tool, right? Then you use it.
Yeah, and people need tools.
Yeah,
like you need walking a dog on a regular collar is a flawed system. You're taking an animal that, generally speaking, is like out of its mind and wants to see dogs and wants to smell and wants to pee, and you're putting them on this thing at a horrible, not for their health, but just dogs can pull so hard on this area of their body.
Yeah.
They can just pull and they don't care. It's a flawed system.
But is it any more flawed than the whole like vest harness thing that we see?
That's probably a more flawed system.
I see it a lot.
The buckle back, a harness is a more flawed system. This is second to flawed. Then you get into front clip, better than this. Then you get into prong, better than this. Then you get to nose thing, which is, for those of you older than 40, have you ever driven a non-power steering car, Eric?
I have.
Okay. I have too. My first 3 cars. A buckle, normal collar is non-power steering. A gentle leader is power steering. I've said it many times to clients.
That's twice in one podcast.
Wow, that's what it's like. You just a little less turn, and the dog turns.
You're aging yourself with that power steering.
Yeah, I know.
Call.
My first 3 cars, 2 maybe,
Yeah.
4 maybe.
Did you have any manual transmissions?
My first, definitely 3 cars, dude. The '87 Chevette was my first. Google that thing. It's a horrible, horrible car. Then a Scirocco. Google that thing. Volkswagen Scirocco. I thought I was the man. It's like
I would have thought a Chevette would have been better than that. We're still trying to get
not.
sponsorships.
You're getting confused with a Chevelle.
Oh, no, I know that's like from
A
68.
Chevette is a horrible vehicle.
Yeah.
It's very ugly. And then my BMW 325i was manual and no power
Were
steering.
you awesome?
But it was
in
old
that car,
school. I was cool in that car.
but not as cool as the Scirocco, right?
I thought I was cool in the Scirocco. It was red.
What
Anyway,
year was the Scirocco? Not that it matters.
I think 87. I think they were like all like 80 somethings.
I
They were old cars. I was young. We had no money.
I feel
am I
like
gonna do?
my car had power steering. My first one, which was a 1986 Toyota MR2, 2-door. I
That
don't know if you remember
sounds
those.
cool.
But it was a real fun car for a young. It was $2,100.
Yeah.
That wasn't a bad deal.
Yeah.
130,000 miles to start. But
yeah,
this is back when you used to have to work for stuff.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
that?
When people had jobs. Now everyone just does podcasts like us.
Yeah. Those
Pays
all this
rent. I don't know how people
podcast losers,
I don't know
right?
how people. No, I have my appointments in the middle of the day on a Tuesday when people are like, yeah, no problem. No one works.
Where they just
I don't know. I
Just
don't do
call
sessions
in
on the
or not?
weekends. Occasionally, I have a hey, can I do a weekend? I work. Most people are just like, yeah, I'll be there Tuesday at 10. It's no problem.
I mean, I think it depends on, I don't want to say the power, but if somebody's in a more powerful position, this is sounding so bad,
Then
but
get off work.
then, if I really want to meet a real estate investor, like I don't even know who's a big one, but let's say like Grant Cardone or something. Not that I really would, but if I really want to meet him and he's like, sure, I'll meet you on Thursday at 8 p.m.
You're gonna make it work.
Okay, I'll
That's
see
a
you
good
there.
Point. That's true.
Like, can you do Saturday? You'd be like, no, I can't do Saturday.
That's true. I'm kind of kidding. Like, I get where people can get off work, but like my SeaWorld job, I'm not getting off work. There's no getting off work.
Would you have
I work when I work.
down on you if you like just missed a shift?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, no show today.
Oh, the show would.
I mean,
they would have to scramble to try to get somebody else. Right?
They could absorb a trainer not being there, but you can't just be like, yeah, I'm gonna come in. I mean, you wouldn't be that cavalier, but like, hey guys, I got an appointment. I'll be 4 hours late. They'd be like, no, you don't have an appointment. Like, you'll be at work.
I gotta get my dog fixed.
I gotta go to dog training session.
I gotta get my dog's
do
ear
it on your
cropped.
days off.
Yeah,
Joel.
I don't want to say who my old boss was, but he'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go get tires put on my truck. I'll be back in 4 hours.
Well, that's bosses. Bosses can do that.
I know they get what
my management at SeaWorld could. They kind of showed up whenever. They were good management, but yeah, there's more freedom.
So did you didn't have another job between SeaWorld and your dog training business, did you?
No.
You weren't selling like Amway or something like that, right?
No, I left SeaWorld to start Beckman's dog training.
Can you talk about that? Like just I know we didn't
Sure.
this or anything, but like what were you thinking? You were like training killer
Bro.
whales and you're like, I would be such a good dog trainer. Like, how does this work?
Okay, you want to get into this?
I don't know why.
I met my wife, and we at some point we were like, we want to not work at SeaWorld. And we literally went to our facility. We looked all over for an acre, at least, for a dog training facility.
Mhm.
Like, now that I have kids.
Why dogs, though?
As opposed to what?
I mean, what made you want to be a dog trainer?
Because I like dogs, and I wanted to start my own business.
And you wanted to
I didn't want to work for anybody. And I wanted to train.
Anything, really.
Anything.
Okay. But
my
you're not gonna
dream
train cats,
would be
so.
training big cats.
Yeah.
But I don't want to work for anybody doing it.
But you can't train even any cats, right? To some degree.
Yeah. Well, cats are hard to train. So we bought a facility because we knew that we were going to do dog training.
Mhm.
Once we bought it, I stayed at SeaWorld for a little bit, and then I left. And I went full time into dog training with zero understanding. I was just like, I'm going to be successful at this.
So
I don't know why I thought I'd be successful. I guess because I trained a lot of things.
When you were sick, when you had the flu, were you like, okay, time to go to work and do my show? Would you work through sickness?
Yeah, I once was really sick, so I'm talking the show. I'm talking, and I could
Oh.
barely talk. I got off stage. My management's like, "Who put Joel up for a show?" And one of my supervisors like me, and they're like, "He can barely freaking talk, dude.
Dude, but
He's in front of
tough.
5,000 people." No, that's the thing. Hey, you guys want some advice? Just go hard at work. Management, like even be like reckless, not like reckless. Bro, I once so for my swim test, you have to swim 120 feet underwater before you get hired to see if they'll hire you, plus the interview. I went 120 feet underwater. I pushed off the wall and swam 20 feet the other way.
Like you kept going.
Yeah.
So I saw.
Bro, I was just like, I'm going hard.
You're like, I can't stop. You're gonna like this. So I saw a video on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's Joel's daughter. And
Yeah.
she was going underwater with weights.
Oh yeah.
I was like, she's gonna go all the way across. No, she goes all the way across,
25
turns
meters.
around and comes back.
It's out of control.
I showed Megan.
She went 50 yards or meters, 150 feet, carrying weights underwater
for like a minute or something.
It's crazy. I thought my 120 swim and flipping on the wall was a big deal. My daughter went 30 more feet than me while carrying weights.
While smiling.
And she smiled at the camera.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was
But awesome. I don't know. Never mind. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, but is what you're saying is you had a
kids.
hunger. You had a hunger for being on your own, doing your own thing. You didn't want to listen to a boss tell you what to do.
I was over it.
I
was like 30.
You're just ready.
I have a skill that isn't in like is a skill I can do on my own.
Plus, you went to school for it too.
I went to school for it, and I don't discount sitting in class for 2 years and learning about animal training. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah, I've been blown away by
reading
your
tons of books.
Ivan Pavlov, your different like 4 levels of what was it? Operant conditioning.
Yeah.
So every time I touch a little piece of training knowledge, you're like just vomit on everyone. Like I know everything about it, or you know what I mean? You know everything about it.
Yeah.
You don't prepare for it. You're not like, oh, we're going to talk about operant conditioning today. You're like, I know this all like burned into your brain.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Right?
It's just well, you learn about it, then you go apply it with a big cat, which is different than a dog, which is different than a whale, and then it just burns it in more, but with different animals. So it's like it's just weird. My history is odd.
So if I adopted some form of mountain lion, would you help me try to train it?
I would. Are we talking a cub?
Yeah, or if we had to start from cub, I'd be fine with that.
I would love it.
That would be like my favorite thing.
It would be the
people would go
thing.
Nuts if they even got a whiff that you were doing that. They would lose their mind. People would be so upset.
Well, if we like rescued it,
if you rescue it, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, you can't keep it,
but you can nurse it back to health.
You could probably nurse it back to health. Yeah. We keep it on the down low and not tell anybody.
We don't do videos about it.
I think the authorities are coming for you.
Russia goes hard.
Well, that's Russia.
Even a lot of places do that. Like, not really European countries. Obviously, if you can't, what are some of the restrictions in Europe? People from Europe have been giving us a ton of love on the comments.
That's good.
Like props from Sweden and all these different places. So, but the point of it is that you're sure as heck can't use or can't adopt a mountain lion in Europe, probably.
No, I think in Texas you can. No, there's regulations. I mean, I know about it. There's regulations.
You gotta be careful. So fun.
It'd be awesome.
Do you think you could do any type of training to it? I mean, like get some decent results?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cat. They're different. You condition them to not bite you and not scratch you, and like to be chill and to love you, and you live life like you it's a raising process.
I mean, they are loving, right? I mean, even the bigger cats.
Yeah.
It's like okay. But they just don't have the same pathways that the dogs do as far as
Yeah, they're
ability to train.
different. They're so different, dogs and cats.
Yeah. I mean, they really are different.
They really are.
I mean,
Dogs are unique.
Hence it's the man's best friend thing, right? I mean, there's some
Yeah.
truth to that.
There's a lot of truth to that. Cats, they did a study, I don't know, study or whatever. Is like, if your cat was the size of a lion, like, it would just kill you.
My cat wouldn't.
No?
No way.
Oh, that's good.
Cat loves me.
That's good.
No, I don't know if it would. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay.
We'll pass on that. Do you mind if I just dive a little bit into this job thing? So about, like, because I think what you're saying is that people need a job, but do dogs need a job?
Yeah, people need a job. You know any people without jobs? I know someone without jobs, and they have kids, and it's not good. Working's important.
Good for you.
Yeah,
it really is. It is good for you. So, speaking of some of the hard work I've done, look at this. Beckman all day.
What are you drinking?
My pint glass. This is soda water with lime squeezed into it. But yeah, I got this in the mail along with that shirt I gave you last week.
Yep.
So if you're interested in any merch,
it's right there.
Unleashed is the promo code, and it is got a bunch of different stuff. Dog. I saw someone just got another. What are they called? The pet T-shirt things, whatever that's called.
Yeah, dog shirt.
Dog shirt. It says Beckman all day.
Yeah.
Got that, and then I think we're pulling those down, and we might put up a new one.
Yeah.
At the end of the month, and then do a different. But as far as for now, the promo code is good until June 30th, which is like, I think.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, it'll be 2 more days left. So
cool.
They're interested in that, so we can get back to the job stuff if you don't mind.
All right. Here's my thing. Malinois. A lot of talk in the last video about your dog having a job. My dog has a job. Both my dogs have had jobs. Any sport, in my opinion, is a job. You can even create small jobs, but the tone has to be right. So you put the backpack on your dog and you go, "Hey dog, you're going to carry my water and your water. That's your job." Mm-hmm. I like talking to them in a way that makes them feel like something's different. This is your job. And say, this is your job. Even though it's a stupid made up job like carrying your water, it's still a little bit of a job. It's got to be out of the norms. But any sport is a job. Any service work is a job. You can make anything, not anything. You can make a lot of things a job. But here's my question that I want some herding person to answer. Here's my dilemma. Mm-hmm. That video where a cattle dog tried to bite Prince turned around and got mad at him. So herding people. There are two aspects to giving a herding dog a job. One is satiation. The other is rehearsal of behavior. These are two. One is a problem and one is good. So if we take a dog that nips people's heels and nips dogs, which is a big problem, and we give them an outlet for it, satiation, does that help them not nip people and dogs?
If they nip the dog?
If we train them to go to class and nip or herd sheep, are they then better at not nipping people and dogs?
Do you want me to answer that?
You can't answer that.
I know the answer.
Okay, go ahead.
They are going to nip the dogs in class or the sheep in class. They're going to come home and they're going to nip people and they're going to nip children.
So you think it's going to make them worse?
I don't think it's going to
go
make
to
them
class.
Worse. I just think they're going to do it everywhere because I feel like I've been nipped by a shepherd.
Yeah.
And, I was just running and it goes like, "Oh, kid's running." It didn't nip me.
Yeah.
It wanted to move me.
But my point is, your shepherd's already doing that. Would it have helped that shepherd to go to class and find an outlet for that nipping? Or is the dog simply rehearsing that bad behavior of nipping people more on sheep? Or is the context so different? And maybe this is only interesting to me.
I love it. I love it.
But I'm not positive that nipping dog going to herd sheep helps that nipping dog on people and other dogs. And you might say, well, it conditions an off switch. Yeah, but does it? That's why I don't want the average Joe to comment who did one sheep herding class with their dog. I want a sheep herding teacher to say, yes, Joel, I've had many dogs come to me that nipped people. We trained a no on the sheep. Hence, we then used that no when the dog went for another dog, and we fixed the problem. Or did you not fix the problem? And this is just pie in the sky stuff, that giving a dog a job in that context of herding is just a nice thing to say, but is not in actuality a thing that works. And that can bleed into other jobs. How about bite work?
We're gonna get 50 people in the comments that are gonna be like, okay, so I am an expert in herding dogs, and they're gonna be weighing in. We're gonna be like, are you sure you're all experts on this?
Yeah. So I wonder.
So maybe it's more like smoking cigarettes, like bad behavior. Like they go out, the dog goes out, smokes cigarettes at night, comes back, smokes cigarettes again, smokes them all the time. Likes to,
gets addicted to it.
It loves it. I mean, if you had 45 kids just run like crazy all at once, tell me that Australian cattle dog doesn't go, let's get these guys in alignment here.
But maybe that Australian cattle dog goes, I only do it on those fluffy white things in that context, and I no longer need to do it on that person or that kid or that dog because I have an outlet or satiation, as I say, for it. It's a question I have because I've never been to a sheep herding class, and it's a real question, and that can go into other jobs. So I'm a big fan of a dog having a job. What does a job do? It gives them purpose. It gives them exercise. It gives them mental stimulation. It does all this stuff. But in that Malinois video, he needs a job. He needs a job. He needs a job. He needs a job. I agree the dog needs a job, and most dogs need a job. But don't think a job is this cure-all for everything.
The job doesn't make any damn money is the problem, right?
Yeah, they need to make some money.
I mean,
pay for the food.
Yeah, I see what you're saying about
I don't have an answer to the satiation versus
right?
rehearsal of behavior question.
You're asking if anyone knows.
If every dog, I get a lot of dogs that nip people, nip kids in the back legs, and nip dogs. If someone can say, listen, here's the process for satiation works, and here's my process for training a no in a high drive nipper on, but the problem, you can do it on sheep, and you do it so much, it then transfers to people and dogs and kids. But you have to give them an outlet to quell it, coupled with the training of a no. If you say that it works, I will maybe believe you.
See,
I'm just not sure it works.
We're getting into this idea, like that comment where he said, I train my dogs off leash perfectly.
Me?
No, there's a guy who was in comment was saying, off leash, I do off leash training, and you make them perfect. And we're like, well, if we know this guy who can train perfect dogs, then I'd love to see him. Where it's kind of similar to this shepherding thing. Well, I can train them to be it's like, well, are you sure you can train them that well? Are you sure they won't? Like, I wonder whether they would try to herd other animals, like a bear or something,
after the training,
or just a shepherd just wanting to herd other animals.
Yeah.
Just because it wants to.
Yeah. I don't know.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when you have an appointment with for a private session, do you generally get there on time?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're paying me money.
So it's a work for work. You do that. But then what if you go out to dinner with friends? Do you show up 20 minutes late?
Generally not.
So you
unless my wife's going with me.
So part of it.
Then we show up 20 minutes late.
Can we cut that out? I'm kidding. So in general, your goal is, whether you're getting paid or not, you want to do the same thing.
Yeah, being late is a bad thing.
I just got done talking about this with somebody.
Bro, the only thing in life, and I think we've talked about this, that you can't get more of is time. Money, none of it matters as much as your time. And when you're late to things, you are respecting people's time less. And that's the only thing in life they can't get back.
Yeah. I was
They
going to
can't
ask
make
you if
more
it was
of.
disrespectful, and you already answered
Yeah.
that question.
It's super disrespectful.
Do you see how if you train somebody to wrestle or to fight or to do something, some skill, right? It changes them. If you're a martial artist who spends every day doing jujitsu and boxing and stuff, and somebody attacks you,
Yeah, you're ready. You're better than them.
yeah, you're not thinking in the similar way. And I don't want to make it sound like some Bruce Lee crazy stuff here.
No, you're better than 99% of the population. You are actually better than 99% of the population.
But you see what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
it's not a, it's a, you, these steps that we take in life means if you want to make money, for instance, I want to make a lot of money. When I was a kid, I want to make a lot of money. If you really want to make a lot of money, you need to do a lot of hard work and sacrifice to get there. And unfortunately, by the time you get that money, you're a different person.
Oh, that's true in a good way.
Because you had to develop the responsibility and all of these things to become who you were. And so you don't go and buy that brand new Lamborghini that you wanted when you were 16.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because you realized a lot of things along the way.
So on the job topic, are you saying so some breeds maybe need a job, some maybe don't?
Yeah, pugs don't need a job like Malinois do.
Why
I
had
had a pug
pugs? What's
client
wrong
today.
with pugs?
Pugs are awesome.
What do you like about them?
They're not aggressive.
Generally, no.
I
had a neighbor had a pug.
Bro, pugs are awesome. Well, and then people in the comments are like, they shouldn't breed them. They can't. I don't know what to tell you. Pugs are awesome.
Isn't that a French bulldog thing where like they have to in vitro fertilization?
It's weird.
They're like $2,000 or $4,000 or something.
Yeah, they're expensive right now. Yeah, no, pugs are I like non-aggressive dogs because I deal with so many aggressive dogs. I like non-aggressive breeds.
What about Chihuahuas? You never talk about Chihuahua. Have you even had a Chihuahua?
Yeah, I think I'm not going to make a video. I could make a video with it, but you're going to say, we need the bigger dogs.
I feel like
don't make that Chihuahua video. And I'll be like, yeah, but people have Chihuahuas and they want little dogs. And you're like, we're not doing it.
I have a great idea for a video. It's called The Biggest Chihuahua in the History of the World. And we take the Chihuahua, we make it look really big, and then we make Prince look real small in the thumbnail.
It's a good idea. It'd get clicks.
Yeah, and then people would click off.
People would be like,
it'd be like clickbait. How'd you do that to us?
Where were we were talking? What the heck?
We're talking about dog training.
Oh,
we're
pugs.
talking about that.
And people love their pugs.
But we're talking about dog jobs. Like some need.
Oh yeah, pugs don't need a job like Malinois needs a job. Malinois need a job more than probably any breed.
Can you give me
for obvious reasons? They're being bred right now for a job. Police work.
Yeah.
It's in the breeding more than any other breed. It was in the breeding German Shepherds 30 years ago, more than any other breed. Now it's moved to Malinois. And you can't get it out. You can't get it out of the breeding right now.
Do you remember back when George Foreman was fighting Muhammad Ali and George Foreman arrived in Africa with the, what was it? It was a German Shepherd, right?
Multiple German Shepherds.
And that was like,
it was this weird thing.
That was like the apartheid, like.
Yeah, there was a whole cultural thing with that.
And they were like, why is this guy bringing this police
so they hated him.
I can't believe you knew that.
I know a lot about boxing. Yeah.
Do you?
Oh yeah, boxing. I love boxing.
Yeah, that's.
I love Mike Tyson.
I love Mike Tyson. Can you give me like 5 popular jobs that a dog would have?
Agility.
What is it? What purpose does agility serve?
A job, you can make it a job.
It's a fake job.
It's a fake job.
A
dog doesn't know. He has no idea. You can make a job anything. Hey, so-and-so, we're going to go in the backyard. You're going to do your job. We're going through this tunnel. We're going to jump. Then eventually, you're going to become a police dog that has to go through. I don't care what you say to your dog.
So you lie to him.
Yeah, lie to them and just act like they're training to be a police dog. The high-level Israeli security border collie that has to go through tunnels and jump over things and make them think they do a job.
Do you think there's some level of like Malinois owners? It's going to be so bad that like think they're like Israeli special forces, but they're not.
I think like 50% of them think that their dog is like some Israeli special forces dog and they're some Israeli special forces thing.
This is the 7th and last Beckman Unleashed podcast.
The Malinois people.
So
I like him. One of our trainers, actually, he's got a Malinois, but he's not all obnoxious about it.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying all of them are. It's just you guys are over your skis a little bit.
He's
with
not.
this
He's not all
Malinois thing.
vegan about it. He's not trying to get you to stop eating meat about it.
Yeah, he's just like he's got a dog and he does his thing.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
There's a dog I'd like to.
I think they own a
Go ahead.
chimpanzee or something. Like they're the only people that can do this.
So there's a dog. I hope I can still find it when I go back to Hawaii. But there was a guy, and I don't know if he was homeless, but he had a white, maybe part pit mixture, maybe like a lab pit or something like that. And he basically kind of more or less lived on the beach. Really nice guy, but he trained this dog, and this gets into a comment that we had. It was so perfectly behaved as it related to obedient tricks. I mean, he would do like 17 fairly complicated things in a way I've never even seen. And somebody asked, Joel, I know you don't do tricks, but what's your thoughts? Can you give us a little bit on
tricks?
On just like your, I know you're not like, hey, I don't train dogs for tricks, but
yeah.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, tricks are cool. They're fun. That's a good point, actually. I think I used to give a jobs talking class, and I would say, like, train tricks as this extra little job thing. And it gets their brain going. You learn about shaping behavior. So tricks, clickers, that's shaping of behavior. Behavior through approximations is shaping behavior. Tricks are a great way to learn about that.
Approximation?
Yeah, small steps towards a final goal or toward a final behavior. So like training a rollover would be training it down. Then like you kind of, I mean, it's weird. I could get in this for a long time. True shaping would be a dog turns, you want to train a spin. The dog literally like kind of randomly turns this way. You bridge it with a clicker and then you reinforce it. Then they just go a little farther and you keep clicking until they train. Now, no one really does that. Few people do that. The easier way to do it is to lure them, then click and then reinforce. And so you use a lure, which isn't true shaping. Now I'm getting into boring stuff, but stuff I really enjoy talking about.
You should.
Emily Laurel Ham is a good shaper of behavior. She has a YouTube channel, Kiko Pup. She's a good shaper. I tell people to go to her channel when they want to learn tricks, when they want to learn how to shape behavior.
We should link her in the description box for people.
I have a funny story about her.
They're interested. So you blew my mind round number 3 because this whole approximation thing, or this idea of getting the change you want through little tiny incremental changes is what you're basically saying, right?
Yes, and through positive reinforcement.
Okay, so I, as a father, do that a lot.
Yes,
and I think and this is getting into other comments, which was your last video where you said the greatest of great dog trainers have to be a parent, which obviously you're not trying to win a popularity contest on this podcast.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, but I have a job for my oldest daughter. It's one of the things she has to do is clean the cat boxes. Right. And I treat it like it's,
as you should,
as it's like Donald Trump on The Apprentice. Like did you get the cat box? And she does. She'll get the cat boxes done, feed the cats, give them water, take care of everything. But to me, it's so important. It's the most important job. Like you said, make it important, but it is important because if she can continue to execute on that job, then you do the next job. And then you do what you said, these little incremental changes that eventually you get into the real world and you can do 47 different things without being told you need to do it.
Totally. Yeah. You do that better than I do that.
Oh, you mean with my kids or no?
Yeah. You do a lot of things better than I do.
Like what?
Like that. You've told me about things with your kids and I'm like, wow, that's really good. I don't know. There's other things. Like we will go and do the chores and then like they'll just like kind of fade away.
Okay. So
it's not great.
The staying power isn't always there
staying power is not there.
Yeah. But
I'm not perfect, obviously.
Have you ever heard of the book Atomic Habits?
No.
It's pretty popular. It's probably, I'm sure, New York Times bestseller, but it's probably one of the more popular books in the last several years. And it's really about how to like get habits to stay and how to get positive versus like how to create a habit and also how to like remove a bad habit.
Yeah.
And so it gets really into the technical. I think you would like it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was a good book. But to me, habit formation is so critical because if you can make, you know, just like you said with this training the dog to turn just a little bit, you have to crawl before you can walk. You can't expect someone to do a muscle up if you can't do a pull up. So you have to start training all the levels of it before you get to that stage.
Yes.
But everyone wants to just go straight to the stage.
Totally.
It's like,
yeah,
people are delusional usually.
Yeah.
We're so mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we all are. And then as you get older, you sort of understand how doing a pull-up would work or raising a kid would work. And it's tough. And when you're younger, you're still a kid and you're learning this stuff. And many people didn't have a father around. And so they, not to say they need a father, but like two people instilling
right?
two different viewpoints in your head, both good, one from mom, one from dad. You only have one, you only have a dad around. You miss that part of your mother. The good things the mom can do.
It shapes it, right?
Yeah, you need it all. And so then we get older and then we learn the stuff on our own, or you don't. So and you fumble through life and you become homeless like the guy on the beach that you're talking about who trains his dog awesome, but he's also doesn't have a home.
Yeah, he also doing heroin.
Maybe he's happy as anything.
He's doing heroin underneath the benches, you know?
Yeah.
It's not great.
That's not great.
But what about belief systems? So like for instance, whether it's maybe fatherhood, trying to instill in your kids that they can do within reason, right? They can do anything they want. So I know your daughter does competitive surfing and stuff, but to be like, you can, if you really put the work in, you can do amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Do you try to hit your kids with all that, like not motivation, but like, I feel like people have limiting belief systems. They don't think they can achieve great things.
That really is true. And as I get older, I realize if you raise kids and you know the stages to what they need at certain ages and you hit those stages, once they become a teenager or they actually, I mean, there's limitations. Listen, the NBA is hard to get to. There's height things. The NFL is hard to get to. Being a CEO of Bank of America is probably hard to get. There's only so many positions in the world. But other than that, like if you do the right things at the right ages, which is why I'm so big into age appropriateness of dogs and of children, there really is, the sky really is the limit if you do it right.
Yeah.
If I don't know if that was your question, but
no,
it is
I
true,
like that.
man. It is true.
I think that this idea though, because part of what your philosophy is about this like proving ground that you're like, I don't know what works. Like, how about we work with 1,000 dogs and see if it works, right? And if it doesn't work, then we just don't ever use it again.
The method, yeah.
Yeah. So it's really about, anvils of experience, just hammering away to solve this type of stuff. So that is, to me, really fascinating to be, you know what I'm saying? To have an approach where it's a wait and see, or let's let the free market, so to speak, determine what will work and what will not work. And so you're not married to any particular viewpoint if you can be convinced that another way is better to be done.
It doesn't harm the dog. It's close to the best way, and then we prove it with dogs off camera, and then we take it to on camera and tell people to do it this way.
And so yeah, I just think it's funny too, even with like the YouTube thing, how you really never like dreamed that like you would have the following that you have. Not to say it's insane, but it's pretty insane. I mean, I think there's like 420,000 subscribers. If we would have known that a couple years ago, we would have been like, whoa,
bro. It's insane. It really is. I was talking about it with my wife last night, and we were just like, it's pretty crazy what's happened in life and in our life. And me and her have, done some things, and now YouTube. And I think we're the views wise, the number one dog trainer on YouTube. I think
when it comes to looking at the most recent videos from all different dog trainers,
our last 10,
I think it's definitely,
it might be number one by 2x.
I think, well, definitely more
could
than
be
some.
wrong.
I think more than some. I've
It's
done
a
it
lot.
before. I've looked at it before, and it
So
for sure
the
was.
subs aren't, as we know, aren't the story, right? I did start this 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete against some people who've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah,
On
absolutely.
subs wise.
Yeah, and that's okay. And at the end of the day, the message is getting out. I think people are just getting behind you more. I read a lot of the comments, and people are really saying amazing good things about you and how they
Thank you.
think
people.
you're the greatest dog trainer ever.
Well, that's nice.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I think I have a unique past.
I think the main.
And sorry,
go ahead.
hold
go ahead.
that. And, so I've thought about this. Like I was like, oh, I'm going to make a video on this or something, but I'll just do it here. It's a unique. You learn a lot from working with exotic animals, and you learn a lot from working with dangerous exotic animals that no one can be taught.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't be taught it. No dog trainer can learn it. How to shape behaviors with a killer whale, and then take that to dog training. Like it's things that can't be learned. But then the other thing is just the number of dogs, which I talked about in this podcast. There was just a lot of dogs at the beginning. I had to trial by fire. Like I had to teach these classes. I better get the best methods out there. Then the third was what's it called when your mind is like open to, like I didn't have a philosophy. Right? Yeah, I was open-minded about the method. Like I wasn't following anybody. I wasn't worried about somebody getting mad at me because I used a correction and then I said, okay, I'm just going to be positive reinforcement. Like I had an open mind about the methods.
You're just running around trying to train dogs all the time.
And group classes in people's homes and board and train. Those are different skill sets required. So I was thinking about that too. Yes, talking at shows in SeaWorld made the camera being on me maybe a little less nerve-wracking, but also I would teach classes 3 to 5 days a week in front of 10 people where I have to talk and move over here.
Yeah. Work the room a little bit.
Work the room. So then the camera was on me 3 years ago and I didn't seem to have a big problem with it.
It's like Cahoots. Shout out Cahoots. I've seen you
Pet Store.
I've seen you work basically giving seminars there, and 2 hours of talking where you're just like schooling people is second nature to you at this point.
Yeah. So I think those things all came together on a video where people said, this is a little different from the other guy I'm seeing in the video. I think Dog Daddy has that. And we've talked about him. We talk about him because he's an interesting human being. Mm-hmm. Robert Cabral, I also like. I just like him as a person. I don't know anybody else. I don't know those two guys either. But when you see Dog Daddy, you see his 10 German Shepherds or 5 or however many, you're like, what's going on? Like, this is different.
Yeah.
This is unique. This is interesting.
That's the fun part about YouTube, right? It's interesting. Like, they can go and see what you do, and they can go see what someone else does, and they can see you do a video on a Malinois, and then next week it's a pit bull and then a Cane Corso, and they get a little bit of everything. And but you do see the people doing rankings and so forth. We went over that last week. Like, Joel's the GOAT, Caesar's the GOAT. These are my favorite. Tom Atherton? Or no, did I mess that up? Will Atherton. Sorry. Is there another Tom, or did I make that
Tom
up?
Davis.
Okay, that's close.
Yeah.
Not bad for part-timer.
It's good.
Yeah, I do think we should fairly soon get into comments.
We
had a good amount of comments from the last video. A lot of good ones. And I think the
last podcast
go off.
Last podcast.
Not
the video. We're done with the video. Malinois video. We're
over it.
Podcast.
As you say, right? We're over it. So first of all, I would like to thank Sarah McLovin.
You would like to thank her?
Yes, but you would too.
Oh.
I tagged her pinned comment. She did a timestamp on all of it, and I didn't even notice it
on the podcast.
So she went through and did about 20 different timestamps and tell you exactly where everything was. And so I just tagged or pinned it like before we met today.
Yeah.
And so thank you for going in there, and everyone loves it because then they can just click in, and if there's a certain part they need to see or they don't have a ton of time, they can listen to that. And
so you pinned it. Yeah. Okay. Let's be clear. What?
Did you pin it before? I
No.
didn't know this.
Let's
Oh,
be
no.
clear. I'm the one that gets back to everybody on these.
True.
Right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't get back to anybody. I'm just saying
I
you
don't-
pinned it.
I don't email anyone.
Or you don't comment.
Or I
whatever.
comment only
Yeah,
from
yeah.
my own Google.
Yes, you
Yeah.
comment, but
Yeah.
it's just occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
I'm the one who gets if someone
Yeah.
got back to you in the comments, it's me.
Yeah. If there's a heart, it's you.
It's if
I've
there's a
never
heart,
hearted.
it's me.
If I ever comment or heart,
It's your own.
I do it through my own channel. What's my own channel? I'm not telling you.
No.
So, anyway, so the point is
Oh, yeah.
that you are the person that does the hearts. So yeah, like
and
I
the
said,
comments.
Yeah, if you comment to them, I'm not doing
Okay.
that.
I'm just making sure
pinning-
everyone knows.
Pinning,
you
I've been
can pin
interjecting
something.
pinning because,
Okay. Because on the podcast, because
yeah. But I mean, also just like
you occasionally pin.
not really.
I know you haven't.
I don't really have any interest in pinning generally, but when somebody is being helpful and creating
On the podcast.
something valuable, I feel like.
Thank you, Sarah McLovin.
Sarah McLovin. I'm sure that's a real name too. So I have no idea what this one is. It just says
Comments from the last
Yuan
podcast.
Echo.
Yeah.
Thank you for covering so many good topics about dog training and beyond dog training. I don't normally listen to podcasts, but I just can't stop listening to you two. Would you please talk about cases where training isn't sufficient, such as genetic fear, puppyhood, trauma? Dude, this is exactly what you were just talking about. That requires medication like this is so bad. Fluoxetine, Prozac. I don't know. What is Joel's take on medications on dogs, including vaccination? To answer Joel's question, that's probably why I screenshot it. To answer Joel's question, you look good with your new tan and workout results. 2 hands, and you always looked good before. Shout out.
All right. That's a big question.
That's a lot.
Like my thoughts on vaccinations.
Maybe just give answer
my
one
thoughts
of them.
on Prozac.
We covered Prozac a
These
bit.
are big questions.
Just give them a little
nuanced,
little food, little fodder.
Bro, vaccinations.
Do we not want to get on that today?
Nah.
Yeah, we should do it maybe next week.
Okay.
There's a lot. That's a deep conversation.
Prozac.
And let's be very clear. We're not talking about
humans.
So we don't want to see that thing they put at the bottom of YouTube videos.
Yeah. We got to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure.
Okay.
Alarm bells are going off.
Can I partly answer that person's question?
Sure.
Wasn't there a first
There was
part
a
of that?
genetic fear.
Oh, genetic fear. Genetic fear is hard.
Okay. Oh, too much for today.
No, I want to try to answer the person's question a little bit. Genetic fear is genetic. Can the average person in a reasonable period of time get their dog over genetic fear? Good luck. Genes from the parents. Anything genetic is tough.
Yeah, I can't get over mine, so probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Good old viewer 9058 says, thanks. She means for being honest. I hate all the BS from people who won't just give the facts. The way you list out pros and cons and trust the viewer is really refreshing. So people like the pros and cons, telling them how it is.
Oh, good.
I think that's what we're finding out, especially with how well the podcast has been doing, and obviously our videos too, is that people are really they don't want to be taught, or they don't want to be talked to in a certain way. They just want you to give them the real deal. Yeah,
I agree, man. I watch some podcasts and I'm just like, you just want, I don't know, you want realness.
Yeah.
That's all anyone wants in life.
Yeah.
You ever talk to people and they're just boring people with no opinions and I don't know, just who wants this? Who wants it?
It's also not boring though, too. It could be over the top, salespeople.
Salesy. How about prideful?
Yeah.
How about people who want to talk about themselves all the time?
Yeah, it's true.
How about people want to talk about their Malinois all the time during a party? You're like, bro, I don't care about your dog.
But he does tricks. Yeah. He's going to be a police dog. I'm raising him for that.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Should we keep track of how many Malinois owners we still have? Kristen Webster says, I teach intro to psych to college students, and they all have problems understanding operant
I
conditioning.
saw this one.
I have used Joel's video where he describes reinforcement punishment in class because it is a real world use of the concepts.
Please, will you comment with what school? if it's like the University of whatever, I'll be like, yeah. If it's like
USC or like
LCC,
Harvard,
Lane Community College, which is from my hometown where I went, it's like this like little tiny like
so
not good school. No offense, Lane Community College people.
But if it is good, like maybe Harvard or something, then you'll be, or Cambridge, you'd be pumped. But if
if you want to tell us,
if it's like City College, then
which is fine, by the way, she's a professor. Like we shouldn't disparage her.
I don't think we're disparaging her.
Okay, good.
But
good,
I think
good. Thank you.
Your point is, or the cool part is that she is making her college students watch your videos to understand operant conditioning.
Hey, I did Academy for Dog Trainers. It was super awesome and cool, but it was just hard to do. Classical conditioning. Google The Office, the show, classical conditioning. They have a really good intro.
Really?
Where Jim plays a noise. This is Pavlovian stuff we talked about last week. Jim plays a noise on his computer and then gives Dwight an Altoid, and then he just keeps doing it. And then eventually he plays the noise on his computer. Dwight puts his hand out and Jim goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "I don't know." And then he goes, "My mouth's so dry." It's a perfect example of classical conditioning. She uses my example of operant conditioning in her school. My point is, you want to learn more about classical conditioning,
watch The Office.
The Office intro is really good, actually.
And classical conditioning is the kind of Ivan Pavlov thing.
Yes. But I'm so stoked that she does that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's you're hitting new levels.
Yeah, college.
We don't want to get your ego out of control, but
I barely went to college.
You're in the stratosphere. You went to college for dog training, more or less.
I went to college for animal training.
Yeah, and I think remember how we said there's no job too little, whether it's for kids or for dogs or whatever, it's like there's no like too small of college or too,
bro,
you know what I mean?
Yes, you're so right. So I went to SeaWorld. I was 20 something. I had a fair amount of job experience, but not like anything like real. And we're doing a Halloween show or Christmas show. I was not swimming with the whales. The high level people are swimming on these night shows, dangerous stuff, giant crowds, Orlando, which is a crazy crowd. Music. My job was when my fellow trainers, but the more experienced people, were to come to the backstage. My job was to take their costume off. They had their wetsuit, then they had the thing over their wetsuit to make them look different.
Yeah,
and put their wetsuit on. And SeaWorld Orlando did a great job of being like, "You're new, and this is your job. And if you do this stupid job well, you're going to get another job, and it's going to be more. And if you can't do this little job well," they didn't say this, but this is the implication. And now I'm in management, so I understand what they're doing. You ain't getting another job. You're probably getting moved to a different animal training area, actually, because if you can't take this little job seriously, we can't trust you for other jobs. If your daughter cannot do the cat box, then in 2 years, you're gonna be like, "No, you can't help me with that and make some real money."
Yeah,
you couldn't do the cat box.
Trust. Yeah, you build the trust, and yeah, I think that's a huge. And obviously, shout out, she's crushing the old cat box. But I think that's
a great kid.
But I think there's an idea that we're teasing out here about that every job is important, and then even if you think about jobs that don't get a lot of love, like a waiter or a waitress or a busser or something like that, right? Where those are hard jobs, I mean, you're on your feet all day and so forth. So are you, but I remember there was a guy who was our server at Olive Garden, and this is multiple times.
Yeah.
And I still remember his name, and I was probably 12 years old.
Really?
So it's like, and I bet you my mom knows his name still. Like, can you imagine how good you are at your job that someone remembers you 20, 30 years later, and all you did was talk to people and like serve their food, but just give everything you have to what you're doing. You know what I mean?
You will be successful in life if you understand that and you do that.
Yeah, you can't be. I mean, he could be the president of the United States for all I know. I don't know. He's not, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And so when you see what is it? It's ego, right? It's I'm too good for that job.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I think even we have to do some pretty, I'd say low level jobs sometimes, right? Because there's no one else to do it.
You and me.
Yeah. But also
Yeah.
people that work for you. I mean,
yeah.
This is a terrible example, but like picking up crap. It doesn't
yeah.
seem like it's an important job. I think it's pretty important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah, I agree.
So you ready for another comment?
Yes.
We gotta give some love to the
comments from the last podcast.
Can you explain how the comment thing works to them while I look?
So we and Eric go through the comments from the last podcast because we want this podcast. We want a podcast crew, and we want to give you guys some love. We talked about the last video, but this podcast is comments from podcasts.
Yeah,
because we have our own little crew of podcast people. That's a little different from video people.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we want. Yeah, and I'll get into that. There's actually a comment about that. Denver Outdoorman, I think, is becoming a bit of a legend here. Would love to hear a podcast about your wild animal experiences, especially wild cat. So that's more of something we probably have to prep.
Yeah.
Like digging more into the college, probably, because that's where you had the most of the experience, right?
Yeah, Moore Park Exotic Animal Management and Training Program.
Yeah, so we could go off. And then also, if you listen to the first podcast, and you click on the pinned comment, which you pinned, not me, it should give you the link to the second part of it that was cut off. And I think that's where you get into zoos, and I think you get a little bit more into that, but I could be wrong.
Yep.
So that's the question, or the answer to that question. This is about the trick trainer. I think I'm going to skip that one. Sorry, viewer 9058. Might be the same person. Pearl Korak says, It's me. I do not even have a dog. Meaning
people listen who don't have a dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I watched this channel for years. I love that those podcasts are so long. I listen while painting or knitting. I think it's so calming to listen to someone who is honest and confident. This is a vibe.
Hey, okay. I want to bring something up.
Yeah.
Okay. So on our last podcast, we talked about the poop bags at the beginning of hikes.
Yeah.
I then called you a couple days later and said, hey, look at all these comments are saying the reason that there are poop bags at the beginning of the hiking trail is because people go, their dog poops, they pick up the poop, and then what this makes sense to me, they leave the poop bag at the base of the trail, they go up, and generally speaking, they come back and they pick up their poop bag. I called you and I said, hey, look at all these people who are saying this. And guess what you said? You said, that's not the case. I'm the only one on the trail.
True.
And I want to know who is not telling the truth. Is it Eric, who actually there are people on the trail who are most likely going to pick up that poop bag and you just didn't notice them, which wouldn't be not telling the truth. It would be, there might be other people up here. Or is it the commenters? Are you ready to concede that the poop bags you saw were most likely people who were on the trail and that you just didn't see them? Now, mind you, a lot of these, I've been
careful
in your defense. I've been on some of the hikes you've been on. There's really one trail up. So if you don't see someone, there's most likely no one there. There's not a lot of just trails that go off and you're not going to see the person. But are you ready to concede that, in fact, the poop bags that you saw were people on the trail and that people are picking up their poop bags?
Careful, Joel.
So
I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, you're going to answer a question with a question?
What time in the morning do you think I get up?
I know. You think you're the only one hiking in the morning?
But what time do you think I get up?
5:30.
4:55.
But when you I don't care when you get up.
So
I care when you're hiking.
I am on the trail no later than 6:30. And
you're not the only human being who is doing that.
No, I am often the only person on the trail. And sometimes when I am coming back down, I will see people. Now I do see a couple and they're actually working on the trail and they don't have a dog. And so I know the people that are coming up and who have dogs. And I know that guy who has 2 dogs and I know who they are because people do the same thing every day, which is what I do. And so
could it be his poop bags?
it could be as poop bags, but what I'm saying is there's poop bags all up and down the trail. There's no way
There's not enough.
There's no people. But the thing is there's just
Okay.
there's no one out there. There's
All
no
right.
one there.
So Eric's contention is that people are leaving their poop bags. They're not picking them up. The commenters, it can be both. People can sometimes leave them, and but we didn't think of that thing.
It's interesting.
The people, their dog poops, they put their poop, they go up the trail, they walk back, they pick up their poop. That's a thing. It's
like
just
a
not
cool
all.
training
Eric's
method.
contention is it's not always a thing.
It's kind of like it's a cool training thing that
I
is
would
not
do that.
reality, but it's like it's possible that big poop bag that's sitting in the middle of there for 4 days, like it's possible that like
Well, if it's there
someone
for 4 days,
put the poop bag and then they come back and there's a different poop bag and they put it like
That
as
is
close to the other bag. I
they
mean,
have like a system.
yeah, I
Like
don't
a
want
poop
to
system.
say no, but all I'm saying is if I was there in the middle of the day, it would be hard to disagree with those people.
Okay.
But if I get up there and there's
Yeah.
no one out there and I see who's parking there,
Both things can be true.
both things can be true. So are you just saying pick up your poop? Is that the
Well, yeah.
so
But a lot of people do pick up their poop. They have a thing. They leave the poop bag, they go on the trail, they pick the poop up on the way back, which is understandable.
Sure they do.
Oh, he's saying that you guys don't do it.
No, I think the commenter who said that,
multiple people said
I
it.
think
5 people.
I think all 5 of them do it.
I agree.
Not all the time, like
Yeah.
you. Like
Yeah.
you pick up poop 99% of the time, as you said in the last podcast.
Oh yeah.
But every now and then you're far away, or they get a call for work, they have to go back and they are a little off the trail and they're just like, someone else will grab it for me.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
people.
that's okay.
Right.
Nobody's perfect is
That's
the theme
true.
Of the podcast, right? So dog trainer Hillary, who I think we might have seen.
Oh, a dog trainer.
Yeah.
What does she say?
She says Joel is 100% right about
Oh,
experience raising kids and the insight one gets to bring to dog training. The two experiences parallel each other so much it's undeniable.
it is. I agree.
The level,
However-
right? Go ahead.
However, I misspoke
On that one?
on that statement I made. So here I said that you cannot be a great dog trainer without having children. I shouldn't have said it like that. A dog trainer having children behaviorally is going to understand an awful lot more than a dog trainer without children, because there's just behavioral stuff day to day over the years, understanding behavior and changing behavior and what you can't change and age appropriateness. I can tell when a client has kids or not. They have a different perspective. However, you can be a great dog trainer and not have children. And I said you can't. And that I misspoke.
And
I should have said it differently. I should have said that differently.
And I can't remember exactly what you said, but I was under the impression that you weren't saying being good versus great. I thought you were saying great versus the GOAT. That's a difference.
Most likely the GOAT of dog training, whoever that is, has children. But I'm going to talk about things I know about. I'm not going to say you can't if it's 98%. Like, I have to be 100% to be like, so some great dog trainer is out there going, I don't have kids, or maybe they don't know they're a great dog trainer, but like they could be great. Like I literally said, I think I might've said you can't be the best or you can't be great. And that's not true.
So
if you work with some insane amount of dogs and you don't have kids, you can still be, you could be a great dog trainer without having kids. Like I got it over my skis a little bit.
Should we put that in the apology section?
But that's a real apology. All our apologies are fake apologies. That's
Except
a real apology. That's our first real apology.
So, but you would say that if you had to bet on who would be the best dog trainer,
they
probably
children.
have. Yeah. So it's a loaded dice. It tends to land on the.
That's a great way to point it, to say it. I bet nobody understands what that term means. Loaded dice.
Yeah, it's just like you roll it and it rolls the same thing every time.
That's a good way to put it, because I didn't know how to put it. Most likely the best dog trainers in the world have children. I'm not saying something crazy.
Yeah.
There's a behavioral aspect to having children that is hard to get, with just having dogs.
But we can't.
Is that crazy?
We can't.
Is that crazy?
We can't we can't tell people you can do anything you put your mind to and then say, but you can't be a good dog trainer if you don't have kids.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I can't do that stuff.
I'll let you win that one. That's
Well,
fine.
I didn't win. I lost. I just apologized for saying something that wasn't true.
You got over your skis, as you said, right?
Do people know what that means?
Yeah, it's a water skiing term. Right?
Oh, I thought it was a snow skiing term.
skiing
I
term.
just know I've heard the term. You get out ahead of yourself. A little too much.
So this is ACL, probably ACL 13. Hi, Joel. My mother passed away 2 weeks ago, and we have been enjoying your videos so much for the past 2 years. It has helped me gain so much more confidence as a dog handler, and I love your philosophy and flexibility depending on dogs' needs. You are so knowledgeable about animals, and I admire that. Your podcast arrived at the perfect moment since it's a very hard time for me. I'm sure my mom would have enjoyed watching them with me, especially the apology section in every podcast. That's funny. They always make me laugh. Thank you for always trying to help others, and have a good day/night.
Well, I'm sorry about your mother.
Yes.
That's sad. And I'm glad that I and Eric could bring you some joy. And in that vein, here's my apology segment from the last. Okay, we're gonna have to think of this because this guy likes the apology segment. So let's give it to him.
I think it might be a gal. I can't see.
This lady likes the last apology. So we have to on the fly think of our apologies from last
I look
podcast.
at it, I'm like, what do they look like? It's like a
you can't tell if it's a guy or a girl. It's just a dog.
Yeah, it's a guy.
Okay, so guy or girl.
Poodle.
Let's do the apology segments from this podcast. I apologize to the Malinois people for going off on you guys. I apologize to we don't have to apologize to the Amish. We don't have to apologize to the continent of Europe.
No, not today.
We don't have to apologize to the force-free trainers.
Not yet. I don't think.
We apologize to the Malinois people. We apologize to the people who don't like ear cropping. You don't have to like ear cropping. That I said that you are that you like dogs more than people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did say that.
But do they?
I said they. Yeah. You bet you. There's a human procedure that's similar to a dog procedure. Does the dog procedure make you mad? More mad than the human procedure? It's the same procedure. Done at the same time of the organism's life.
You know what I thought was weird when
if you're mad about the dog one, not the human one, you might want to look in the mirror and just go, okay, I value dogs more than people. Or if the human one makes you mad, great, you're consistent.
I want to dig it.
Does that make sense? Sorry.
You're good.
Go ahead. I'm done.
I want to dig deeper into the water delivery handoff birthing in a bath thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So do you believe that? Because they were making assertions that like it's a better way to bring a baby into the world. I don't say it's not possible, but when I hear like, well, there's bright lights over them, I'm thinking, is this real? Like, is it really change the kids?
You know it happens, right? People do this. You know that.
Oh yeah. I know about this. I'm aware of it.
Does it work like they think it would? Does it have the effect, the good effect they think it has?
Yeah, or is the shining lights have a very bad effect on the kids?
Well, it's not just lights. It's the taking of the child and the handing off of the child. And I don't know. I didn't do it. We didn't do that.
But they have nowadays. They have what do they call it? It's like chest time. Someone's going to be yelling at the screen.
There's
a name for this.
Yes. Skin on skin.
Skin on skin. You got it.
Yeah, but that happens in the hospital in most of them.
Yeah, I think it's fairly common.
It's important. They also don't like clean the babies like they used to.
Yeah, they don't take the stuff off of them, right?
Yeah, they leave it on.
There's
good things happening, but I do get it. I do get the water thing, I guess.
I think. I mean, it's not that, but I think the point of what we're saying here is.
Yeah, what is the point?
There is a point to me, and this point is, we all have ideas, right? We have ideas on what's the best way to do something,
right?
The way that the world is, or the way that the world should be. or really
The
way
best thing for your kids.
Yeah, the best
or
thing
your
that is
dogs.
possible.
Yes.
But there's a big difference between, and that's kind of what I was not able to articulate earlier, was there's a big difference between working with 5,000 dogs in really getting down to the results and figuring out what does and doesn't work based on experience versus that, which I'm not hating on. I'm just saying this idea of, I think that this causes this causes issues, when it's like, we don't really know.
That's you need to literally have all these kids at 5 years old and 10 years old and then 20 years old, and you need to have this giant sample size of water birth children. Then you need to have a giant sample size of regular hospital children, and then you need to have some test to see
IQ
who's
test or something.
better, happier, not better, happier, more common. And you have all these different things. It's very complex stuff. And you need to do the same. And so my point with the ear thing is, I have 2 dogs that are very good dogs.
Mhm.
They both had the ear and the tail thing done. I'm just not convinced it does bad things to them later in life. Why would I be convinced of that when my 2 dogs have been so good and they both had both of those things done?
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Yeah, they think that Prince is the one in a million.
What's it called when your evidence is based on your own experiences?
I think it's experiential. I don't know.
Yeah, or what you see. Forget what they tell you.
It's visual observation, right, or something?
It's
Or,
like something evidence. It's not empirical. Empirical. It's
I think
something.
So. That's that same sound again.
Dude, how do you turn that off?
I'm gonna give it to you, and you can keep it.
Maybe it's the time we should be done.
It's probably pretty close because it goes off around 5
we can all hear this.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it on the last video. You brought it up, and then you kind of ruined the whole vibe, you know. But I think you're talking about empirical evidence, which is probably like,
I don't think that's right.
Evidence that can be is more or less.
That means measured.
I think
it's another kind of.
We should know this. I think,
bro. I've said it before. It's basically like living your life and going, yeah, what they're telling me isn't true.
Yeah,
I don't see that. That's not my experience.
It gets back to what you said at the first or second podcast, which was, what did you say? You said, oh, that's what they say, right?
Yes.
And I have to give you some credit for that, because it is funny, but it's also true how in life you talk with all kinds of people and they make these assertions about the way things are that are like life. And you're like, how in the heck would you know that?
Bro, I took a geology class. I was like an adult. And the lady goes, okay, so the Earth's core is made of lava. And I go, and she goes, well, they take sound waves and they shoot them through the Earth, and then they measure it in China. And I'm like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, but how do you know? And she's like, well, the sound waves. And I'm like, yeah, I'm still not convinced, dude. Like, I didn't say it quite like that. And then I kind of have a little bit of a streak in me of not believing everything that's told to me.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I'm like, I don't think I said this quite like this, so please don't give me a hard time. She gave me the geology book or whatever, and I'm like, if you looked at a geology book from 200 years ago, like half it's wrong.
You would almost all be probably wrong.
Yeah, it's all wrong. So we're getting a book in school, and they're like, here's the answers, and you're like, yeah, but like in 200 years, these aren't going to be the answers. Why are you presenting it to us like this is the truth?
The final
this
word.
Isn't the truth.
It's the final
word. You're teaching it like it's the truth, because that's what education
because it's
does.
in a book.
Like, just know, like, if I was a teacher, I'd be like, yeah, this is like what we kind of think right now. Can I
blow your mind?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna love this. So check this out. So I went to San Diego State, and I was a finance major for my undergrad. And with finance, we had these finance books, and they would do not empirical studies; they would do case studies, and they would look at a successful business, right? And they would basically teach you, this is this business, this is what they do, and this is why they're so great, right? And in my finance book, which I don't know if I still have, guess what company they were doing it on? It's about 2003, 2000 something.
Microsoft.
Enron.
I'm just guessing. Oh, they're like, this is great.
The greatest company of all time.
Is that right?
This is, I swear.
That's crazy.
It was but it wasn't
Enron
like
failed for
it wasn't.
all
Yeah,
you
it wasn't.
people.
It wasn't that Enron failed. Now, obviously, they're in textbooks for failing, but at this
Yeah.
juncture, it was because they had figured it out like no one could.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
No.
It crashed and burned.
The truth was the crash and burn. The truth was not that textbook.
Let's get a little crazy before we leave on the science thing, because I just think it is like what you said about, is it right or is it wrong? This is we could just cut this out later, but like if you look at something and say, this is the fact, but then you look 20 years later and the whole scientific community is completely against what was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You have to say, we have to always look at things with an open mind, because, and I'm not saying you always just challenge everything with for no matter what evidence you're getting, you just say no.
Yeah, that's a
but to say it's in a book, so we have to believe it. That's how
it's in a textbook.
You shut your brain off for the possibility of future
and
information.
I don't believe that it's up to the professors or the industries to quell their urges to tell you something is fact. I put it on you and me and every person to not believe what they tell you is fact. We've just given you 2 examples of our own life of saying like, you sure?
Yeah. So if they're not right twice, then how often are they wrong? And if they are wrong sometimes, then do we want to be misled? And I'm not saying there's people that are like actively trying to mislead. Sometimes people are just wrong. They just think, or they think life is a certain way, and it turns out not to be that way.
Yeah.
But that could, potentially be a big problem when you're basing all your beliefs on something that turns out, like, for instance, I had a geology class at San Diego State, and this guy said, there is no God. Like, I was like, first of all, how do you know this? Right. And second of all, why do you think, and this is 20 years ago, but why do you think that's appropriate for you to say, because you're the geology teacher, that there's no God?
Yeah.
That's just rude.
Yeah.
And this is the last thing I'll say about San Diego State. I did have a professor, and of all the people I listened to, there was a guy, and I won't tell the company name. He had a company. He sold it, I think, for around $180 million, and he was over 50% owner in it. And he's a millionaire.
Your professor.
Yeah. And he went back and taught. And you know what?
Yeah.
I listened to everything that guy said.
Of course.
Because he wasn't just reading it out of a book.
Yeah. Listen to the dog trainer that has well-trained dogs. I mean,
is that 4 mind blows?
No, because I've said that before. Your mind can't be blown on that.
No, but the way you tied it in.
Oh.
The way you tied it into,
yeah.
it's basically the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
Listen to the guy or gal who took a business and made it, made millions and brought it to market, versus the other guy
who studied people who took businesses.
Yeah, who just got out of college and went to got his master's. Like, that's, so you are that guy in dog training.
Thank you.
You're the guy.
There's other guys.
There's some good guys.
And girls.
There's some good girls too.
They have great dogs, but maybe eliminate the ones that don't.
Victoria Stillwell.
Does she have a dog?
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I don't know much about her, other than she has a show that's on YouTube that looks like it's a really actually produced show. Like, it's on TLC
it was a
TV
show, and then she took it to YouTube or something.
Was it on like the Discovery Channel or something?
Yeah.
Like Caesar, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why she had a full-on show.
So I think they're just putting all the shows on YouTube.
Well, yeah, or they're producing it the same. She owns the rights.
Okay.
It's Me or the Dog.
Okay.
I don't know why people sign up to go on that show. Like, it's like, is that like she like rips on the people, I think? Or I don't know.
I can tell you why.
Why?
Because there's no comment section.
She has a comment section.
So they're protected.
They all have a comment section.
On like the Discovery Channel, there's no comment section.
Well, now it's a YouTube channel.
Yeah, she's gonna get shamed in that. But I'm saying,
but I don't think I don't know. I think when you put it out there, like it's Me or the Dog, it's less like, yeah, it's the person typing in, like it's the whole show.
But you see how I brought it full circle to the very beginning of the podcast, where I was like, the Malinois owners are getting shamed and tortured, whereas if you were on TV, you wouldn't even know.
That's true,
right? But you're good point. If they put on YouTube now,
There are comments.
There's this bizarre part about YouTube, or not YouTube, but just social media, where there's just like instant feedback on everything.
Yeah.
Remember? And this is probably what we should end on, because we're probably going pretty long. But if we could get into this real quick before we go, because it's so interesting to me, is like, think about TV and how you just watch TV and it's like, hey, this is the way it is, and this is what happens, and it's just nothing but it's pushing. All the information is just being pushed. There's no feedback back about, is this right or whatever. So think of Tom Brokaw and all these, World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. They just told everyone what was happening, and then you just listened and go, okay, that's what's going on, and then you just sign off. Versus YouTube comes out, you put out a video, and they're like, you're wrong, or they're saying you're wrong, or you're a genius, and it's like 1,000 people giving you feedback.
That's the new world, right?
Is it a better world?
Well, it changed it. So like, I think you could argue news back in the day was a little more down the middle, and like, you can't be, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Here's how we should,
I don't know.
Yeah. Here's how we should end it. Do you promise, because in the last podcast, you said that you were working out and getting in shape. Do you promise that if you stop working out, you will come to the podcast and apologize to your viewers?
You want me to work out.
I want to pressure you.
And so you want to pressure me. You pressure me on this podcast a lot. Yeah, I really do need to keep up with this, and I will. And so, yeah.
Don't give up.
No, I won't. I'm working out.
You're taking it seriously.
I am.
Yeah.
Bro, you have kids. Like, it's like a physical challenge a lot, Like, you need to be in shape. You need to be mentally in shape. You need to be physically in shape.
To work all day. Maybe that's 8 hours. Maybe it's 10 hours. Sometimes it could be 12 hours or whatever of nonstop work. And then you get back, and then you're like, oh, 3 kids.
Oh yeah.
Now I've got 4 to 5 more hours of nonstop work.
Yep.
In a different way, in a much more difficult way.
Yeah, you need to be physically right.
Yeah.
Mentally right.
Healthy. And I think what really helps people with their mental health is Beckman Unleashed podcasts.
I hope we help. I hope we bring a different perspective to not just dog training, but life.
Yeah.
Why is that cricket unbelievably loud?
Is that
there he goes. Okay, hey, we should be done.
I think we should be done. I think everyone should go in the comments and thank us for being late to get Roundtable Pizza, just to make sure we provide some good content.
That's our once a week sheet, dude. Roundtable Pizza. Yeah, we're going there now.
We should cut that part out.
All right. Thanks, guys. Comment for the next podcast. We'll read your comments, hopefully.
All right. I had fun, man.
Yeah. All right. Subs and viewers. Love you guys.
See you guys.